Hello, welcome to the Grace Space, where healing meets intention and alignment flows with ease. I am your host, Marisa, and this space is for anyone on a journey to return back to themselves, to slow down, to reset, and to build a life rooted in clarity and wholeness. Whether you are watching this on YouTube or listening on Apple, Spotify, or iHeart, I am so glad you're here today because in this episode, I am going to use this as a reminder that rest is not something that you earn. It is not something of a reward at the end of productivity. It is a sacred and strategic part of becoming who we were called to be. And so if you see me taking a nap during the day, we are not here to judge that. So let's get into today's episode. Right now, my kids are on spring break for 2 weeks. My contract has ended with my corporate client. And even though this is a familiar place, if you have been following my 30-day challenge on YouTube, I talk about being a contractor, embracing that life of, working and then pausing. And so this is a familiar thing, but I still always feel that tension, like I should be doing something more productive. I catch myself spiraling into a work mode, even when there's no work to be done in that space in particular. And, the truth is I have the time now and the space to focus on what's mine. I've been talking about finishing what I started, and that is my site, the Grace Space site, where I'm going to house all of my products and my YouTube videos. And, I am working on a wellness download for all of you and a fasting manual, my channel, my wellness, my rest. This is all mine. And so, but yet, I still think that I'm supposed to be doing more, and there's this part of me that equates stillness with failure. And all of my life, I have, put my, how do I want to call it? My worth into my job. And when I say my job, I mean corporate, because if you think about it, we're trained to go to school, get our degree, check, and then get a corporate job. Check. And I've worked, this is not to display my resume. It's not for this episode, but now that I've embraced being a contractor, those things come and go. And so I have to constantly remind myself that stillness is not me being a failure, that my identity is not wrapped up in my corporate opportunities. I realized I'm fighting the actual life that I desire, the actual life that I pray for, a slower pace, more time with my family, more ownership over my schedule. And now that I have that, I'm still trying to hustle my way through it out of fear that I'm not going to be able to, sustain the income that I bring in or not have another opportunity. And the thing is, when you're a contractor, you can learn how to save your money, right? I save a significant amount of money during that time. I ask for more money in my contracts because I know I'm only working a certain amount of time. So it actually does balance out if I really, really think about it, because I've set up, measures to make sure that I'm okay, that my family is okay. So again, I'm trying to hustle my way through, out of the life that I actually want, if that makes sense, because I'm fearful. And it's something that I struggle with. We're conditioned to attach our worth to what we produce, but rest is not laziness. Rest is a reset. It's where strategy is revealed. It's where alignment becomes possible. I'm learning to pause without guilt. To see rest as a part of the process, not the absence of that. And I don't want to chase the things that I've already learned. I don't want to knock on doors I've already been through. I don't want to chase my tail in this hamster race of a life that we've all, just accepted. I don't want that for myself. And so this is why I fast, y'all. This is why I'm always going to continue to talk about fasting. It isn't something that I do to rest just physically, it's something that I do to be able to have a clear mental and a clear spiritual space, because I have to remind myself of these things. And it's how I remember who I am when that noise does get loud. I have fasted from food, yes, but I also fast from chaos and clutter and compromise and constant output and just sitting my ass down. Every time I fast, I feel myself return to this clarity, and clarity doesn't come from me doing more. It comes from me letting go. So letting go of things that I cannot control. So if you're in this moment like me, a pause, a stretch, or a quiet, an in between, I just want to ask you a few questions. Are you honoring the invitation to rest? I'm going to say that again. Are you honoring the invitation to rest? That could mean if you know you ain't got to be doing anything right now, maybe God is just calling you to rest. Maybe he's asking you to sit still. Are you confusing stillness with stagnation, like me sometimes? You wake up. Are you working out? Are you knocking things off of the things that you said that you didn't have time to do? Are you confusing the stillness with being stagnant? And lastly, I want to ask you, are you trying to grind your way through what is meant to be a reset? I'm going to say that again. Are you trying to grind your way through what was meant to be a reset? Oftentimes, what I do is I will come up off of a project. It will be an amazing project. It will be lucrative. I will have met amazing people, and I think that end means like I failed or something, when that end is just the beginning of something new that's coming up next. You know what I mean? So if any of this hits, it's okay. You're not behind. You are just being invited to slow down so something deeper can rise up. That's it. So that's all I had today, y'all. If this episode resonated with you, please take a moment to share it. Tag me on Instagram at The Grace Space. You can also find this on Mommy Needs a Break Network. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what came up when you listen to this. And before you go, make sure to please follow The Grace Space on all platforms. This podcast is now on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, iHeart. Your girl is trying to get her work on. I'm not going to say trying. I am getting my work on. I am adding this on all platforms so you can take a listen. The full episode will be on YouTube, on the Mommy Needs a Break Network. You can follow me on Threads as She Is Marisa J. I'm all over the place, okay? And my website is going to have all of this, so don't you fear. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are already enough. Please keep going, and I will see you in the next episode.